There you go. We're
interface.
Oh,
live.
does it?
I'm on
Yeah,
stage.
yeah. It actually
Excellent.
says like the banner came up. Hi everyone, my name is Jamie Higginbotham. I don't know if you actually remember me. It has been a hot minute since I've been on the show. I am coming to you live from Vandenberg Space Force Base, and I apologize in advance for my terrible bandwidth. We're trying. Before we get into the news, which is absolutely, at least for me, the most exciting thing, Blue Origin going to the moon. I do want to say, and we'll talk about this at the end of the show, we're trying out new technology on the show, and I guarantee you some of it's going to fail today, right? Like, that's just how this is going to work. But we're doing that because we're losing Station 204. Not by my hand. It's going away because it's not going to be renewed. So we'll talk about that later in the show because I really want to get into Blue Moon really quick. Blue Moon. It'd be Blue Moon, right? Is that
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
who arguably in this room is most excited about Blue Origin going to the moon? Dali is wait, am I the most excited one in the room? Okay,
I'm
Jared
excited
gives me two
too.
thumbs up.
So, I mean,
I'm
finally
excited.
in terms of-
I'm impartial. I don't know. Am I meant to be excited? Like, I'm not excited, but I'm also like not jumping for joy excited, which is kind of my mood generally. This is pretty much as excited as I get. So
That's fair. That is your mood. That is your mood. Jared, what's your excitement level? Like 1 to 10, where are you at?
I'd say I'm at like a 7.5. Like, I'm
Okay.
I'm
You
just
are
like
all
defining.
crazy. I'm at a 10. Like, this is humanity going back to the moon one way or another, right? Like having all of our eggs in one basket. And don't get me wrong, I'm part of the big basket, right? So like, I want, but like, why choose one? It's why pick A or B when you can have both, right? And so I'm really, really excited about our prospects of actually being able to get to the moon and having a backup plan for being able to get there. Now, it's interesting that they chose Blue Origin. So, actually, who knows about the story? I feel like we haven't described the story at all yet. Like, Dali, you want to tell everyone what's going on?
Sure. I'll be happy to talk about it. There was an award of just one contract when a lot of people expected there to be two, and that contract went to SpaceX. And much drama about all of that, and now they have gone back and grabbed a second provider, which provides all those lovely benefits of the redundancy, the improving our risk profile about being able to provide something excellent. And I think competition of two companies working toward a common goal actually motivates even better with that whole competition vibe, friendly competition, both trying to get to the same thing. That's excellent. So Blue Origin, I mean, personally, in my mind, obviously the second choice. Though I really like some of the things about that low slung lander, the math of it didn't work out for me. So I'm preferring the Blue Origin. The math only in the sense of it seemed like they had not enough payload buffer. They needed to adjust their masses a bit, and
I'm sorry.
and they were pushing
On
too
which
close.
one? On the SpaceX one or on the Blue?
No,
one?
no. This is one of the third ones. The
Dynetics
low
sound
slung.
The
kind of-
Dynetics one.
Dynetics.
Okay, yeah.
It's the one that drops tanks and it's low slung and it steps off now to the ground, which is lovely. And you know, I'm not actually bothered by ladders. Ladders and safety cables. If I've gone all the way to the moon, a 10-meter ladder doesn't scare me anymore. So I'm delighted that we have both of those on the table. And the reason I'm only at a 6 is because it's so far off. I see so many steps between here and there that could change it. So I'm being all stoic and reserved.
But we're taking the steps.
We're
I do
doing
wanna-
the steps.
I do want to bring up a comment from the chat room really quick, if I may, and that it's from TSM Space. And I think this is a really good point as well, because I said it's, all of the, TSM says it's not about better chances, it's also about prospective volume of travel to the moon. I actually think it's both, right? Because by doubling your chances, you at least have some volume to the moon. But if both of them succeed, now you've got double volume to the moon. So ideally, there is a world in which, you could. Why not?
No, you don't get double volume.
Why not?
because there's a 10-to-1 difference in the volume of the two vehicles.
Yeah, but
So adding the second one only adds 10% per flight.
yeah, okay. It all depends on the number of flights as well. So,
Sure.
right? I mean, they can choose to fly more. I mean, they probably won't.
You're right.
Like,
In
when
terms
you
of
look at the
landed
SpaceX
mass,
cadence,
absolutely, I agree.
It's hard to argue with the SpaceX cadence at this point. I say from my hotel room in Vandenberg.
A little bit of West Coast bias there, I think.
Ryan, why are you not at a 10? How am I the only one that's at a 10? I don't understand. Why are you not at a 10? And by the way, while you're answering in the chat room, what are you guys at from 1 to 10? Let me know and why.
I don't know really. I don't know how to word this really. It's like, of course, I'm excited that there's going to be another lander, but I don't know really. I'm just not up there. Maybe it's because I've spent the last 6 hours trying to render a video. I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it.
Ryan, this is your generation, right? Like
I know.
the Artemis generation
I'm
is
not
your
not
generation.
excited. I'm just. I don't know. Maybe maybe I spent all my hype on the Starship HLS. Maybe I don't know.
Interesting side comment from Eduardo, I believe. Volume. We need to get rid of the Space Launch System to get real advantage of the volume. Why? See, this is
Not happening.
Jared, I agree. And why do you think it's not happening?
There's this really cool thing here in the United States called Congress, and they really like money in their districts, so that's not happening. So if they lose that, they will lose votes, and they don't want that to happen. So, so you know, it's of course engineering by lawyers. So no, it ain't happening.
So we do joke constantly that it's the Senate launch system, right? Okay, let's put a pin in that because we're going to go down a very deep rabbit hole when it comes to the space launch system. and Jared, actually, since you were talking, I'm curious all about you. Why are you not 10 out of 10 on this system? Like, okay, Ryan is never 10 out of 10 on anything. He is 5 out of 5. Whether he loves it or hate it, he's always 5 out of 5.
Straight down the middle.
He'll be 5.1 if he's really excited, or 4.9 if he hates it, right? So
I just thought that was a British thing. So
yeah. 1 out of 10, Jared goes from bandana to orange smelling, right? That's your scale. So like, exactly. So if I were to ask you 1 out of 10, you'd be like pineapple. So why are you not 10 out of 10?
Okay, so obviously I feel like Blue has a lot to prove with some of their development and things. You look at the BE4 engine and you see that some of the issues they've been having with that, and some of these are like very much issues where you look at it and you go, come on guys, don't you understand the fundamentals of how physics works? Well,
wait. Hang on. Where are they messing
very,
up the
very
fundamentals?
tough for me to look at it that way. So, and I have to sort of take my expectations, and I don't want delusions of grandeur to take over with things like this. This is not, it's not the super fast and break stuff attitude that we see from SpaceX. It's very much slow and steady from Blue Origin, and in some cases slower and steadier. But of course, that's always debatable as to whether that's going to pay off in the long run, or if move fast and break stuff is.
So, in the group's opinion, I think everyone here tends to agree. I mean, Blue started before SpaceX, right?
Yeah.
So,
I will also point out that from my perspective, Blue's concept seems a lot more complicated and convoluted than the Starship HLS, so that may have something to do with my kind of opinion on it, because for the Starship HLS, yes, it requires refueling, yes, it's reusable, but it's all one system. You've got Starship tankers, Starship lander, it's all one thing. But you've got, at least how I understood the announcement, I may be wrong, but you've got the blue lander, you've got the blue tanker, you've got the gateway integrate, it seems like there's many different things, and you've also got the New Glenn, which is the launch vehicle. Starship is the launch vehicle, it is the tanker, it is the lander. Blue's concept seems to have many different things tying together with collaborations with Lockheed and whatnot, so that's kind of my perspective of it.
If I
Wild
can
Dada has entered the room. Exactly. Go, Dada.
Yeah.
if I can temper expectations for a moment, how many times has Blue Origin launched total? And how many times has SpaceX launched this year?
Like 15, I think, maybe. I'll get the actual number.
I've long thought, and I may be... It feels like, and maybe I'm crazy, it feels like when Blue does finally hit that mark, they're going to be able to actually just start running with speed. And it's going to take a minute to get there. It's not like they're going to launch once and then suddenly they launch a week later. That's not how this works. It's going to be kind of that hockey stick, maybe.
There's a lot of work between prototype and ramp and rate. Right?
Says someone who has experienced that firsthand, huh, Dada?
But I mean, that's a long road to travel in a short period of time, and that's going to be very, very difficult to do that well. Not to say that they can't do it. I'm just saying it's going to be difficult. And SpaceX has done this, and Blue Origin is going to have to do this much quicker to try to catch up or keep up.
But it's only impossible until it isn't, right? And like Jared, I remember you've said for years, no Bucks, no Buck Rogers. Well, guess who has all the Bucks? Elon.
Everyone
Guess
now.
who has all other...
Elon and Jeff. If there's two
Dali,
companies that have the bucks, it's those two.
Dali, you've been quiet for a moment. Like, what do you think? When, in your opinion, when do you think Blue Origin is going to accomplish the goal of getting to the moon? And
I have a
B,
40% confidence that they will accomplish it within the time window that will be satisfactory for the project.
Ooh, a lot of qualifiers. What is the time window that would be satisfactory to the project?
In the same sense that I think right now Boeing has failed to meet that standard, or might if they don't actually get off the pad with crew in the next 12 months, in that they will have essentially missed all of the window that we wanted commercial crew to cover, at least in the first issue, and like that. If Blue Origin does something like that, where we get all these landings done on the moon, and we're now looking at the second phase, and finally Blue Origin is testing the unmanned, I would consider that kind of a failure mode to be not in my 40%. So I have about a 40% confidence that they will be able to get crew on the moon within that convenient window of still while SpaceX is doing it for the first phase. Obviously, that's extremely vague.
No, understood. But like a follow-up question to that, because I think if I were to regurgitate your premise, and I'm not, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but to reword it to make sure I understand it. You're basically saying there's a threshold of time that they need to be able to execute on the program before they've kind of like failed and no one cares anymore. Is that a... Yeah.
Well, they might actually, succeed by contract, but not by satisfaction. Hit the letter of the law and miss the spirit of it. And I think that's only just because I have a low confidence in their being willing to do what it takes to, I don't mean hit a deadline, but something like a very loose deadline.
They can't hit a deadline. No one in aerospace, for the record, can hit a deadline, right? Everyone gives Elon
deadline
trouble,
with
but like
a lot
name
of
one rock. Yeah.
Yeah, deadline and Elon time. Sure.
All of aerospace works on Elon time. Everyone gives Elon a hard time, but like, is Vulcan flying? Last I checked, no. Like,
First new
but
plan.
it's close. It's close.
Is it? Do we anyone have video of that second stage again?
The second stage for Vulcan.
Yeah.
They wet dressed it.
They blew it up.
Yeah, they boom.
Yeah, but they the one that's actually going to fly, they wet dressed it.
Sure. But
Okay.
they're still in. Okay. So let me push back, Dali, on your point ever so
Yes.
slightly, going
Yes,
backwards
please.
a little bit, which is I think I agree in that, you've got a certain amount of time before people just kind of like lose interest, right?
Uh-huh.
But we also have very short memories. And so I think you used, or someone used Starliner as an example.
Mm-hmm.
When it does fly, isn't that going to be cool and awesome because it's flying now? It's going to be the thing that's now, right? And so, like, yeah, there will be a little bit of talk about how late it is, but it's still going to be the thing that's now. It's going to be the thing that's sending humans to space right now. And so even though at this moment in time, it feels like they've kind of failed because they are woefully late. Once they are flying humans, will we still feel that way, or will our collective consciousness shift to the excitement of the moment?
I guess I'm not as down on Boeing or Blue Origin on this as would be projected. Like, I don't care at all. No, I will be very excited when it happens, and I am extremely delighted when that happens. And I would not consider Boeing or Blue Origin to have failed overall. If they're simply late for my preferences, fine.
I think Loopy mentioned my point better than I ever could have. And they said, where's all the SLS haters after November 16th, 2022? Right now, there certainly are some, but follow-up comment, they stopped having as loud of a voice, that's for sure, right? Because it was cool. We, as aerospace nerds, can we honestly sit here and pretend like SLS wasn't freaking awesome?
It was amazing. I love it.
Yeah,
and
it was awesome.
It syncs up with Freebird perfectly.
Does it?
Yeah, you just gotta send it to Freebird, and it does perfect. So.
Yeah, Bennett brings up, we all went from straight from meh to yay when SLS rolled out. Yeah. Right? And I remember just watching it, and then the hurricane hit. Remember that? And we were like, oh, what's going to happen? Right? It was exciting. And like those years, the decades of being like, well, I say decades. It felt like decades. Talk about Elon time.
Hang on, Jared's about to start ranting about National Launch System.
Ready, go. Jared, here's the baton. You have the floor. Have at it, my friend.
Go.
Ready, go.
Yeah, is it kind of like I'm going to, the first flight of New Glenn, I'm going to be like, wow, that new Shepard upper stage is really awesome, with it there. So.
All right. I'm excited for... Jared, I forgot. Forgive me. Did we get to your why you're not 10 out of 10, or did I divert?
I believe you asked me. So, but don't think that I'm not excited about this. My gosh, just like, I'm still excited about it. It's just I may not be like super excited about it because the timelines just. I don't feel like personally the timelines are going to be moving like they should. It still doesn't mean I'm not going to be excited about it when it actually, or when we're on the cusp and it's finally happening. I mean, once Starliner made it to the International Space Station, I was just absolutely ecstatic about the fact that they took a photo with a Crew Dragon and Starliner in the same frame. Like, that was, to me, probably one of my favorite photos that I can think of in recent memory from space, was that there were the two commercial crew vehicles right there. And yeah, one took a little bit longer than the other, but I'm much rather interested in program getting it right than trying to speed ahead and risking losing a vehicle or losing a crew. So if you can get it right, do it. And if you don't get it right, then you need to do everything you can to get it right again.
Dutta, I never got your reaction. Add yourself back into the scene. I want to know, because I can see when he's added in. I want to know, 1 to 10, what's your excitement level for Blue Moon?
I haven't processed this yet, so I didn't. I heard that there's news. I haven't processed the news yet. Working on job applications. Y'all can forgive me. But I'm more interested in understanding the technology before I apply my excitement. And call me an engineer or whatever. Like the concept, cool, yay, okay, we're going to the moon, and they've got concepts, but what's the hardware look like? What does the infrastructure look like? And that's the things that I need to understand before I get excited.
Dutta, did you just say, yeah, cool, we're going to the moon, like it's no big?
Yep.
Did you just nonchalantly be like, yeah, cool,
Yep.
Whatever, it's fine, it's just the moon. It's
Because we've been doing this since the 70s. We've had concepts, we've had high fantastic art, we've employed Ralph McQuarrie for all sorts of fantastic pictures and portraits. Like,
but how many times has Bill Nelson got in front of a podium and like actually announced it?
When are we going? Where's the hardware?
Well, some of it blew up. Some of it blew up in Brownsville not that long ago, and
sure,
like. This is one of my gripes with Blue, is that, like, I don't know. right? Like no one knows anything about Blue. They
Yeah.
take a very old school mentality to media and getting out there and getting humanity excited. And for a show that we build that's all about getting humanity excited, like
Yeah.
that is directly opposed to our mission statement, right?
I
So
will
it's
blatantly
difficult
plug the latest NSF flyover though, because they did leave the doors open on the factory, which was nice to see. So we saw some tanks. That was it, but we saw some tanks.
Also, by the way, Ryan, you're doing a fantastic job over there. I just want to give you some kudos. Like,
Thanks.
your work has been absolutely magic over there. That's it. That's
Thanks.
all the more kudos I'm going to give you. Now you're dead to me. All right.
Yeah.
But see,
All right then.
this long lead thing, I think, is part of the problem that I have, at least with getting excited about it. I can get excited about it, and then what I'm getting excited about isn't what's actually going to happen. So like seeing a fantastic looking concept car that your favorite car manufacturer produced for the Tokyo Auto Show, and you're like, oh man, I want that car, and what comes out looks like a old school Toyota Prius. Like, wah, wah.
So Molly Marsgal in the chat says, people who have gotten tours of Blue say it's amazing and that there's hardware, but they can't say anything at all. It's so frustrating.
Welcome to this aerospace.
Yeah, and you know, and I haven't really seen, I haven't had a tour of Blue for obvious reasons.
Why not, Jamie? Just come on in.
Clashing hair
Get your
color.
camera out. Write the
change-
serial numbers down.
If you can change your hair
fine.
color for a month, they'll let you in.
It's fine. I'm just on my phone. I'm just on my phone.
Just don't wear red.
Just
when you go
scrolling
there.
Twitter.
Don't worry. Anyhow, I lost my entire point. My point was I haven't seen any hardware, but I do know some of the engineers that work over at Blue, and they are freakishly good. Like, and this is why I'm so surprised that they haven't made Orbit yet, right? Because like I know some of the people working on those projects, and it's insane how smart these people are, right? I wonder if actually, let's keep talking about Blue. I didn't mean to go on for this long, but like we're gonna keep going. I wonder if they just have access to too many resources, right? When you don't have the pressure of time and money, then are you really ever forced to deliver? I wonder if like removing some of those resources would actually force them to do better. Dali, I'll go around like what are your thoughts?
I'm
You've got
noping
the
out of this
beard
one.
rubbing moment. You're contemplating. What are your thoughts?
I
on
learned
Blue?
from not just you and your boss, but several other people that are important leadership examples in my life, that reducing the number of people on a project often speeds it up, because if you can find the people that are taking the most communications load and putting and get down to the core that are making it run, they can run faster without the other ones behind them. That's one of the ways it works, and that's very much in line with let's go with more lean and see if those lean group can go here and let these other people find their best group and get parallel. And anyway, lots of ways to allow people to work their best. And as you say, rich uncle kind of resource level is goes against that.
No, there was someone, and forgive me. So I will say, in the new system, I do, and I've been giving Colton a hard time, but I do want to say I do miss the old chat room. I think we all do, because we can queue things up and we can see them right there, and then we can just push into air. But that adds a layer of complexity that we are just not ready to go with right now. But I had a point. Anyhow, someone had basically said, I'm not sure, isn't Blue's thing that they're not getting enough funding? Which brings up I don't actually know. Like I haven't had my opportunity to walk around Blue on my phone, checking my text messages. I'm just texting. There we go. Thank you, Dada. Bennett Elder. I thought limited funds was long the story from Blue. So it's not. I don't think it's limited funds, right? Jeff Bezos, my understanding is, would sell like billions of dollars worth of stock every year in order to just fund Blue out of his own pocket. But when it comes to aerospace, let's just say $1 billion, that doesn't actually go that far. So maybe it's a case of they've got $1 billion, but they've bitten off more than they can chew.
Yeah.
Too many projects.
I will say that the NASA contract they got awarded today is worth just shy of $3.5 billion, and they're fronting 50% of the development cost. So let's say that Blue Moon development from this point onwards to the landing and whatnot is going to be roughly 7-8-ish billion, kind of roughly, is what we're assuming based on what Blue and NASA have said. So that's kind of the ballpark that we're playing with here.
And that's assuming they stay on budget. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, name an aerospace program that stayed on budget. That isn't SpaceX.
If you do get a chance to get into Blue, your phone is awesome. Spherical, please, if you can manage.
Why is the lens on your phone so large, and why isn't there a screen? Jared, how about you? What do you think is holding Blue back from actually executing? Like, they've been around longer than SpaceX. They have billions of dollars. Why haven't they made orbit?
I don't think anything is holding Blue back. I think that they just don't care about other people's timelines. They're running their own race in their minds, and they don't see themselves as competitors at other people. They see themselves as sort of, I don't want to say like different or in a different league or however you want to phrase it, but there's no pressure on them to speed themselves towards success. They just want success. And there's something to be said about applying a lot of pressure and making those diamonds that you make with it. There's also something to be said about making sure to take your time and get it right. And I feel like SpaceX is very much a pressure cooker, and Blue Origin is very much a take your time. And both have their own results that hopefully will come out. And I really am hoping that everything at Blue comes out good, because frankly, like you mentioned, the more that we can have, the better. But ultimately, I think Blue just doesn't really care what other people have to think about themselves. They're just here, and they're just doing their thing. And they're going to do it at their pace, and New Glenn will fly when New Glenn flies, and then whatever bigger rocket they want, because they've said New Glenn is their smallest orbital rocket. Maybe they're not as focused on New Glenn as they should be because they're doing something bigger. I don't know. So,
are you saying you think potentially Blue is playing a game that we don't even know about yet?
Like 4D chess or something like that.
Kinda, yeah, right. But like, are they just like, is their vision just so far out there, and they're like, look, we don't have to sell you on this, so they're just like.
I would think in the things that we've seen from Blue and the things that we know about Jeff Bezos and his love for things like Gerard K. O'Neill's The High Frontier and other things like that, about moving humanity not just off of Earth, but having a permanent presence with a large amount of people and uplifting everyone to actually be a part of that and have a better life thanks to space, and have a better life by living in space as well. I feel like they are much more focused towards the middle of the 20th century as opposed to the now. And for them, if that means that they have to take the time to do that, so then that way they could come in and enable some sort of cislunar economy that comes in, then that's the way they do it. So if it takes time, it takes time.
I'd also argue that they've kind of been playing the wrong game for a little while, especially when there was some bickering with Virgin Galactic to do the first space tourism flight or whatnot. I feel like maybe they've put too much focus on that aspect. If you're comparing it to SpaceX, they were orbital from day one. I feel like Blue Origin may have spent too much time and resources trying to get the rocket to send people to the edge of space, or however you want to define it, and not put the resources and whatnot into the cool thing that's going to send people beyond Earth instead of a 5-minute joyride to 300,000 feet.
Dali, you excited? Go, Dali. Go, Dali.
I do. I am just actually absolutely thrilled with if you want to stick me on the first time untried rocket. If the upper stage is a New Shepard, I am way more willing. because they've already worked that out. Now, obviously, I want something like Dragon capable on the return and the okay, but put all those things together, and they have already proven the upper stage part of it. This is now when I say that 40% on the lunar landing, I'm kind of assuming that the tech that is that upper stage motor that they use in New Shepard. I know it. They're using it as a booster, but it's an upper stage motor. No, really. Add a little bell. Okay, that's what they would use for the moon. So they have already worked out the work, and it's going to be 6 times easier in terms of gravity rates and that kind of thing. Time, gravity difference, moon. So I think they are as qualified as SpaceX to do a powered landing already. And so the bit that's on the second stage and above, Blue's my favorite that's not SpaceX right now. My only question is, my only lack of happy is Blue's schedule, not their quality.
Well, okay.
Mystic design, or was that intentional?
It seems obviously intentional that New Shepard was the development of an upper stage to me. That it was an excuse to develop upper stage engine. Otherwise, why ever use hydrolocks for a Kármán line jump? What the heck? No.
I actually think that's a good question, Dodd. I like to go around the room on that one. Ryan, do you think that it's been intentional, that we've been watching them unfold their cislunar economy in front of us, and we didn't even realize that that's their upper stage that's going to the moon?
I don't know. They haven't said so. So
they haven't said anything.
Exactly. The only thing we can do is fill in the blanks. Since they're not going to tell us what's going on.
The entire thing's a blank. We need to fill the whole thing in. There are no blanks to fill if it's entirely blank.
Well, we heard Tory Bruno say what he wanted from them, and to what degree he's been able to get it, so we have some feedback.
Yeah, but the needs of ULA and the needs of Blue are very different.
Right. I'm just saying that there's a little bit of view into Blue because Tory's talking about his being a customer of them. So we get to see more than if not that. If not for Vulcan, we would not see anywhere near as much about what timelines Blue is making and failing to make.
I get the impression, and he has never said this, but I get the just gut feeling that he's not super excited about being a Blue customer. I think he was very excited. I think he was very excited at first, and it feels like that relationship has kind of crumbled a little bit over right? Everyone else?
I don't feel like he was ever excited to be a customer of the Russian supplier for their engines either.
That's true. Well, I mean, that was handed to him, right? He didn't have a choice there. And it was interesting that he, Aerojet Rocketdyne was like, hey, ready, go. But I think the hubris of Aerojet Rocketdyne is what cost them that contract. And again, no insight, just me speculating.
And I've got stories I can't tell in public about how much fun that was to deal with Russian engines.
It's just Dada. It's just us
and
a few billion people on the planet. Go ahead.
On the internet, live forever.
We're all friends here. Jared, what do you think? Do you think that we've been watching Blue build their cislunar economy in front of us and we didn't even realize it?
100%. I feel that the BE3 engine is what they're going to be using. We'll have to see if that's what ends up happening. In addition to that, vertical takeoff, vertical landing, kind of important if you're going to do that with something in terms of grabbing resources and taking those resources elsewhere, especially from a place, say, the moon. In addition to that, they've also flown experiments that are essentially landing systems in order to test them. So Mars landings, moon landings, these systems that are taking data in to try to determine radar and other things like that. So to me, when I heard about them testing these Mars and moon landing systems on New Shepard, that's when I was immediately like, test bed. That is exactly what's happening here. So that data is going to get shared, and their new Blue Origin's going to be able to go back and look at their New Shepard vehicle and also look at that data at the same time and be able to combine whatever they want out of it in order to get some sort of lander for a surface. And yeah, I've felt like it's been there for a while. It's just that nobody's really wanted to connect the dots because either A, Blue's not talking about it, or because B, everyone just doesn't seem to like Blue for some reason.
They're going to combine to form Voltron.
And he's out.
I want to be the red. What was it? They were tigers. The red lion. They were lions, right? I want to be the red lion. No, wait? Was there a purple lion? I want to be the purple lion.
There is now.
There is now. Thank you. Thank you. I love how Dud is done and just removes himself from the scene. He's like, he's just like. All right. I think we've harped on Blue enough, right? Like, did anyone have any final comments on Blue, either in the chat room or here in person?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
I haven't researched the report today very well, and maybe you all have. Have you noticed any hardware changes that were part of today's news, different from what was proposed prior? Because I'm very familiar with their hardware and the numbers and all that stuff from prior. I'm wondering if they've made any choices to sweeten the deal or anything.
Hopefully it's not still an inflatable silver-painted balloon in the middle.
Yeah.
Too soon? Too soon?
That's fine.
Ouch. Ouch. And I just want to remind
It's
everybody,
only a backdrop.
Jared?
I just want to remind everybody that this is also how aerospace works. You don't want a single provider doing anything. You want to have multiple providers. Commercial cargo developments used to have really good example of that because Falcon 9 was lost on CRS 7. And then before that, previously, we'd also lost an Antares with Cygnus. So, yeah, it's kind of important to have more than one provider, whether you like it or not. Really great example of what happens when you have a single provider. Look at the space shuttle in the early days of its program. It was made law of the land that you had to fly all of your payloads on shuttle. That didn't end so well. So, and then you got things like Titan 4 and other stuff out of that. So, yeah, I'm glad to have another player there because that's how it should be.
Since you mentioned the space shuttle, if I may, really quickly, and then I'll hand it to you, Ryan. I'm sorry. Because I'm in Vandenberg, for you space nerds who have never done this before, just Google image search Space Shuttle Vandenberg. Some of the most beautiful and real pictures of this space shuttle with like mountains in the background and the beautiful red. It's incredible. I'm so sad it never flew out of here. Ryan, baton.
The launchpad saying in chat, bring on Dream Chaser. I have to agree with that. I've been waiting so long for the baby shuttle to finally fly. Vulcan is a thing we're also waiting up, but still, I want to see it, not only because, fingers crossed, it will land in the UK. I don't know what purpose that will serve, but it's a cool thing that's going to happen. But, yeah. Come on, Dream Chaser. I believe in you.
I think we've all been huge Dream Chaser fans from the beginning, right? I was really... I was surprised that they didn't win the commercial crew. I thought it was going to be SpaceX and Sierra Nevada. Right? Like...
I wasn't. Because I figured that they probably looked at Dream Chaser and said, oh, another shuttle. Well, we don't want something complicated again.
Yeah, but that's not Dream Chaser.
I think it was the maturity of their product, not the concept. I think the concept is fantastic, and I don't think it was the maturity was quite there for them to be selected at that stage.
Okay, so again, how many astronauts? Someone in the chat remind me, I'm having a hard time remembering this number. The Boeing Starliner, how many astronauts has it brought to the space station?
So,
and if I remember right, they were paid an extra $3 billion for schedule assurance.
Does a Kerbal count?
I think what I'm suggesting is more a cross between company maturity and product maturity.
This was before the great downfall of Boeing as well. Right? Like, this is before the 737 MAX stuff. This is kind of before, Boeing was still looked at in the entire industry as this engineering behemoth that could do no wrong, right? Like, I think by everyone, at least I looked at them that way. And
which is a dangerous position.
It's certainly, I mean, clearly. right? Like, actually, I mean, it's kind of a not great position because then where can you go up from there?
I think it's so hard to take risk when you're in that case. I mean, they kind of went conservative with the 767. They went super ultra conservative with the 737 Max, just taking this older technology and keep adapting it, and it as opposed to taking a clean sheet. And I think a company that is really resting on their laurels is going to take these tiny steps. And in this case, those tiny steps should have produced a consistently reliable answer, and because it didn't, we're all surprised.
Yeah. I was surprised.
I'm gonna push back on that a little bit.
Please.
Their conservatism was incorrectly placed. Their conservatism was for incremental design, but they also were too big to fail and thought that they could get away with not having to being too conservative, and not having to update flight manuals and properly train pilots for new equipment, and that was their downfall. It wasn't that the design was faulty or the design was bad. It's that they didn't train pilots how to deal with it, and that's what they used to slip that through by the FAA and not go through the cost and time expense of recertifying the new of the plane, and that was what their downfall was. Now, all the changes that they made to the 737 were fine and would have been fine if the pilots on board knew how to deal with them when they went wrong. So they were conservative in the wrong places.
I don't think it was just the 737 Max. I think it was a combination of bad timing that happened all at once, right? Like they had Starliner like have valve issues because of course it does. It's a spaceship. Name one rocket or spaceship that.
I mean, they also had to drop out of the XS-1 project as well for DARPA. Their fly 10 times, get the payload up there project. They eventually dropped that because they said that's too complicated.
So, but I don't.
But you know what? Actually, Jamie, I feel like I know what you're about to say, which is that was a DARPA project. So, of course, it's allowed to have that sort of wiggle room. Okay. So.
Well, what I was going to say is I also know engineers at Boeing and also absurdly smart people. I found that the problem in most of these companies is not the engineers. Like, I look at these engineers and they're phenomenally smart people. And then there's also Dada. I'm just giving you shit. But no, really, truly, they're incredible. I just want to point out to the entire community, he had to put on the big, huge smile. While doing that, he then had to turn and look and hit the button to allow it to actually go back down. It was pretty well done, Dada. Well done. But truly, these engineers are absolutely incredible. I know, I don't think Boeing has bad engineers, and I don't think that they're not up to the challenge. I think Boeing has a management problem. I don't know how we got on this topic from Blue Origin. Although, does Blue Origin have the same... They both take a very similar mentality. Huh. That's maybe a future show. I'll tweet that out as a poll, right? You see where I'm going with this one, right? Does Blue Origin have the same mentality problem that Boeing has? That old space, we can do no wrong? Hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we should. I think I'm going to do a show about management because I don't think people realize just how big a thing that is in aerospace. So
it's arguably the downfall of Boeing.
I'm going to disinvolve myself from that conversation.
No. I'm sorry, Dada. There are no guarantees in aerospace. What's the joke? What's the quickest way to become a millionaire in aerospace? Start a billionaire, right?
Yeah.
So for this conversation, obviously, we can only allow uninformed amateurs to speak.
I mean, welcome to the tomorrow shows, exactly. But I mean, that's what this is. That's what the shows are. It's a bunch of aerospace nerds geeking out over aerospace and then having a fun conversation with you, the community, right? Hopefully you guys are enjoying yourselves, and I need to do a better job of bringing in your comments, but yeah. Okay. I think we have stalled on the Blue story.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go around the room, and since in my interface, Ryan, you're in the upper left-hand corner, and I read left to right,
Thanks.
top to bottom. Why don't I hand the baton to you? Did you have anything fun, or did I steal your blue story?
Well, for me, I'm actually in the bottom right. But anyway, I'll go on with it. This is going to be the most jankiest transition you've ever seen, but I'll roll with it.
By the way, are you wearing an Artemis shirt?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Oh, anyway, there you go. Mouse is in the wrong place. Here we go. This is brilliant. Yeah, look at this. Okay. So, we were talking about pretty... Yeah, so this is a launch that happened the other day. Can't remember when. Don't really care. Anyway, we were talking about pretty launch sites the other minute. And I just want to bring in the Xichang Satellite Launch Center, because if we ignore the orange spicy smoke
and the only thing I saw that fire.
If we ignore the orange spicy smoke and the person standing 5 meters away with their phone recording it, I think it's one of the most beautiful launch sites. It's so pretty.
Wait a minute.
It's so pretty.
You saw a person standing there watching it? What?
This is mobile phone footage.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
Well, yeah, the zoom on some of these cameras is, I will tell you, you're not wrong. That is really... Go back. That's like a large forest fire waiting to happen.
But it's so pretty. Hang on,
It
there's
is
another angle
absolutely
further
gorgeous.
back. Where is
And
it?
all I
No,
could see was the...
Trees aren't hypergolic.
Actually, they're green, so they probably would not burn easily,
Look,
right?
nothing wrong at all. It's very pretty, though.
I like that we all just stopped and watched the launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, how can you not?
So, are you saying that this camera is not remote? It's
This is a remote camera.
Okay.
Let me skip forward again. This is a remote camera, but there's a slightly different angle here. You can see the quality goes down slightly as well. This is 100% someone holding their phone up, scarily
You don't
close
know
to the pad.
that to be true.
If that's true, why did that person
From-
do such a heroic, nonsensical thing? That violates our rule: no dying.
Well, they didn't die. I'd hope not.
No,
Well,
but
this
they
is-
took
That
too high a
cloud
risk.
come towards them because, maybe.
I mean, 99% of the time, what you see is what you get, and the other 1% of the time, screamy death.
But yeah,
It's neat,
pretty
but
launch
it's no
site.
shuttle Slick 6. So
You're right. It is not Slick 6. So, again, Jared making a call back to the space shuttle in Vandenberg. It was.
But there's no fog, so you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, but the pictures of the shuttle in Slick 6 did not have fog. Also, oh my God, so much fog this morning. Phantom fog. Dada, you brought yourself back in. Does that mean you've got a point to make, or you were just excited about Slick 6?
There was something about the smoke in that video that makes the hypergolic spicy smoke look fake. It's like the color and how it overlays. It makes it look like it's faked on top of.
It might be just like plumes do weird things.
Yeah, I know. I'm not questioning its validity. It just makes it look weird.
Mm-hmm.
It almost seems like the initial startup mixture had a darker, more orange smoke, and then once it got to full power, it was a different color.
Well, yeah, it was undiluted spicy.
Because
Okay.
it shoved all of the toxic hypergol. Oh,
The
God.
concentration of spicy was greater at initial startup.
Oh man, they're saying to go. All right, so let's move on. Unless you had anything else, Ryan, like you were like, oh my God, this is really pretty, and just wanted to show us.
That was
pretty,
it.
Which, by the way,
Just
for the record,
pretty launch footage.
absolutely, totally allowed for the live show, right? That's the point of the live show, is us nerding out and being like, look how gorgeous this is, and that was gorgeous. Are you eating mustard on your?
Dali, getting at it.
Trying to get the spicy out of my mouth.
So that's how you clean hypergalls. You get a whole bunch of mustard and you
That's what I
figure
heard.
it out.
Let's hand the baton to Dali. Did you have anything fun or exciting that you wanted to talk about this week?
Yeah, you got a new colleague, if all the rumors are correct, and they seem to be. Kathy Lueders. I've been a fan of hers for freaking ever. Well, no, not, but long enough. Probably.
Sorry why we're laughing.
Probably since like 7 years or so ago when I started hearing her talk a lot about requirements approach shift in commercial crew and commercial cargo that she was a really big part of. And I got so thrilled about NASA changing their approach even a little bit in terms of requirements and risk management and sharing information, unsiloing between people, getting requirements, And I note that, it was last year and a half ago, Tim Dodd had an interview with Elon at Boca, or at Starbase, and he was talking a lot about requirements. And it reminded me of Kathy Lueders' talk about requirements. And I just, my wishful thinking says that she had a huge impact on Elon and that. And I don't really care whether, whichever one. What I'm seeing here is heroic and excellent progress on doing things better, doing things smarter, and in the mouth of my heroes. And now, she now gets to go work with him primarily, even though working with him secondarily as one of many for all these years. Now she's going to SpaceX and taking, my home team, because rockets are my sports ball and SpaceX is my home team personally, and taking my home team to yet more all-star games.
Yeah.
So, Kathy, thank you. Thank you for your past. Thank you for your future. Thank you for our future. Anyway, thank you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Moving to SpaceX to continue her career doing amazing things.
Worked very well with commercial crew and things like that. So it's certainly exciting to see her move up to basically kind of not second into command, but that kind of layer, reporting directly to the top, to Gwen Shotwell. So a very senior position at pretty much the most experienced commercial company at the moment with the launch cadence.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
very, very cool. And I wanted to... Oh, yeah, what you got, Dali?
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, if you got more to say about...
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and of course, Jami is allergic to talking about anybody who's like anywhere near SpaceX. Apparently, this offended her, and I hope she will forgive and come back at some other time and not hold it against me.
Yeah, and what do you think in terms of the human spaceflight management? What do you think would change with Kathy coming into play here?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't see anything in my mind about SpaceX doing it wrong or right. It seems like they are hitting a good balance of risk and aggressiveness with their customers' intentions. So if anything, I would think Kathy coming in would just help them focus on what is that optimum. And I don't have any clear idea myself. I have no insight as to whether they are below or above that optimum or how to adjust or anything else to find that best. But I trust that Kathy does. So I'm happy she's helping with that.
I just personally find it very interesting that she is being specifically sent to Starbase. So where Gwen is kind of running the show now. So now it's Gwen and Kathy working together. And they both obviously have I would imagine, probably a very good working relationship with each other because of all the work that they've done for commercial cargo and commercial crew. So very exciting. Two people that definitely know their stuff, all located in the same spot, focusing on the same spot. So we'll definitely have to see what kind of elevation that may add to it.
How much should we speculate that her being at Starbase is about Artemis and Starship and landing of the people not in dragons, but in things that are the next dragon thing?
Oh, the human landing system?
Yeah, all of the stuff that isn't Dragon currently, which would be like the most obvious place for me to put Kathy because of her experience and everything else, and how much effort and cadence and everything else we're doing in terms of Dragon with the human space flight, or instead putting her entirely focused on the next generation of SpaceX human space flight, which is necessarily going to be stainless steel, I think.
Well,
We'll
at
have-
the point where Kathy was in charge of commercial cargo and commercial crew, that was the next generation of spaceflight.
Ah, yes. So she
So
has
now
been on the bleeding
Starship
edge.
and
That's what we
whatnot is
want.
the HLS is the next generation of spaceflight. So you put her on at this very start. We've been going for a little while, but theoretically the very start of that journey towards HLS and so forth. That's kind of where Kathy was involved from commercial crew, commercial cargo.
Indeed, indeed. And she's far from a rookie. She is incredibly well qualified to jump in on the team. So, yay.
Old gaming noob saying in chat Dragon XL.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Dragon XXXXXL. Yeah.
That's what Starship is.
Yeah.
We haven't heard anything about
9
it. So.
X's.
Yes.
Well, that's all. At least me personally, that's all I've got to say.
Yeah.
In terms
we can
of
welcome
questions and stuff
welcome
about
Jamie
that.
back
So,
and shut up about SpaceX.
Okay.
yeah, whenever Jamie is certainly welcome to return.
No,
Whenever
it's
she
going to be
is
funny
ready.
because now I'm going to hand the baton. So for those who don't know, right, like I removed myself from those conversations. So nothing against you, Dali, but like I can't talk about that. And the easiest way to ensure that nothing happens, right, is just to turn off my camera and audio, right? So that's it was also the first time because normally when I'm on station, you know, next to Jared, the SpaceX stories come up, and what I literally do is I just slide away. I just do this, yeah. And I back out, and I back away from the camera and away from the microphone so they can't see or hear me. But when I'm remote like this, my version of backing away is to turn off all my cameras and whatnot. I think you guys did a really fantastic job, though. Like, I think you did a really great, like, awesome, thank you. But there's also a chance that Jared's going to have a SpaceX story. I'm going to have to turn it all off again. But, like, you know, moving the baton.
Drum roll.
Exactly, right? Jared.
So I do not have a SpaceX story, and I'm
Okay, I'll leave
rolling
my camera
through this
on then.
now. I'm rolling through this now to try to get where I'm at. So as we all learn vMix here, that's the good stuff, right? So
Did you say
I wanna
vMix?
talk a little bit about
Did you say
or
vMix?
vMix or whatever.
Oh my god.
EV Mux.
Oh my god.
I swear it feels like every week we've got a new one we're working on, and it's one half dozen or another, whatever the phrasing saying is.
Wait, hang on. We should.
You know what I mean?
We gotta all look at the right. Do I have to look this way? I'll look up.
Where am I looking?
You gotta
This
look-
way.
Am I looking?
You gotta look.
I don't even know what I'm looking.
Oh no, I gotta go this way, right? Oh.
What-
All right.
I don't know what's going
Enough
on.
of us nerding out.
Um,
All right.
Well, all I can see is this on my screen. That's the hard part about this. And I don't even know if Data has it up yet or not. But I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Saturn for having had 62 new moons discovered. Just this, or at least that data was just released this week. So now Saturn officially has 145 moons going around it, which it has snatched that king of the moons or whatever, the top mooner. I don't know. Whatever.
Can't we argue though
top
that each
mooner.
of the different rocks in the rings is also a moon?
You know, you
Ooh.
could, but then this would get into.
Then Saturn kind of
because
wins
Pluto-
by Saturn wins by like I don't know a margin bigger than the universe itself. There's no way
Pluto
anything else can.
It's Pluto all over again. You've created the exact same Pluto
I can't
debate.
do this.
Why, Ryan? Why did you do this?
Ryan, we can't have that happen again. I mean, people have nearly gotten into fights, physical fist fights at conferences over that. Okay, so let's just. I'm not going there. It's 100. It's 145 because they found 62 new ones. Saturn is now on top of the moon count here, and it's beat out Jupiter. And I'm sure probably later this year someone will drop a study on Jupiter, and it'll get over Saturn's again. It'll go over that hurdle, and then they're just going to hurdle their way up and up and up for more moons. So it's all moons down from here. So
There's
Shout out
moons
to
down.
New Zealand. Go ahead, Jamie.
I was gonna say there's a boardroom of astronomers in the back area, just being like, all right, we're beaten for now, but we can get back out on top. What's our game plan here? How are we gonna do that? Like whiteboarding things out, trying to find more moons.
all right, so how are we going to? We should just figure out how to. We put this in here. How about we do? There's that one person in the background who's like, why don't we just call the rings the moons? And then everybody just like throws something at him to make him be quiet. So we figure things out, and how are we going to do? It's got these many moons.
Okay, I have two things then. One is shepherd moons. Okay, never mind. The other one is shout out to New Zealand and Japan and parts around there where it's already Saturn's Day.
Crossing that
I
date
don't
line.
understand.
It's already
I don't know.
Saturn's
Oh,
Day
Sami
in
Chini.
parts of the world right now.
Oh, daylight.
Because
International
we're close enough to midnight in my time zone that a lot of the world's already in Saturn's Day. So, honoring that.
And me.
Yes,
the boardroom-
it's Saturn's Day in Ryan space.
Right
the tomorrow
there.
boardroom. The
I did
tomorrow
get it
boardroom has the solution. Ika says, blow up one of Jupiter's moons so it has many more.
Ah, that shouldn't be too difficult. Should be easy. We'll just use the Death Star that we have hanging out there and just move it real
Yeah.
All
quick.
right.
I can handle it in Kerbal. Give me a couple of iterations, I'll work it out.
Before we talk about what's happening with Tomorrow at Dada, did you have anything you wanted to talk about? I know that wasn't your homework. I just figured I'd ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Make Dada do the homework too, right?
No.
Because he's always on us. Like, do you have your meeting? Do you ever what? Do you? Well, do you, Dada? Do you?
I've been researching jobs.
Oh, he made me feel bad.
As well, you should.
I'm sorry, Dada. All right. So before we go and before we thank all of our members, you'll note that like the shows have been a little bit rocky, and I haven't been on them for a hot minute. So I apologize for that. I'm trying to find ways to make this happen, but my schedule at Company X has been bonkers. I don't think actually quite outlines how I'm always on an airplane now.
Just join
But-
from the airplane. They won't notice. You're in
Yeah,
first
right.
class. They don't care. They don't care.
Exactly,
When I
exactly.
went to New York in December, right there, when I signed up for the internet, there was a specific thing that said no video calling or phone calling, whatnot. How would they know? If I just don't talk, if I'm just there, they won't know.
Well, how would I host the show if I'm just sitting there on an airplane?
You put it in chat.
Text.
So
Text
you just see my
and
picture,
smirks.
You just see a picture of me. Just
You just do emoji reactions. We just have to learn sign language.
Oh God! All right. So I've been traveling a lot. One of the things I'm contemplating doing, and nothing is set in stone, so don't take this for anything, is I'm thinking of moving the shows to weekends because I found it's a little bit easier for me to get into the shows on weekends, and I do miss everyone. I miss everyone in the live panel. I miss you, the chat, like everyone, right? So. I would love feedback in the comments as to what you think about like weekends and then like times, what you think would work. Because like weekends are hard for people, you know, and that's why we don't do it on a weekend. Also, it does eat into our days, right? It eats into our family time. And that's kind of why we moved it off of weekends to begin with. But like if I can't even be here, then what's the point? Basically, I'm saying it's all about me. That's what I'm getting at. The second thing is we're using a lot of remote tools. And we're not using the remote tools because I'm remote, although that doesn't hurt. We're using the remote tools because we are losing Station 204 at the end of the year. The landlord, we got a new landlord, and they have a different vision for the facility. And so they are not renewing anyone's leases in the new year. And so we are required to move out by December 31st, 2023. So I was kind of like, you know, do we want the capital outlay of this entire big studio space, or do we want to find a way to just do this wherever we may be? And it makes me a little bit sad because Dada built this phenomenal set, and I would argue that thing, it's a yeah, exactly, Jarrett, right? Like, it is a show, but it's real, right? Like,
Yeah. Go knock
yeah.
on it.
Yeah, you can.
We can't see that. Go knock on it somewhere else. Go knock on a different bit. There we go.
There's some of my blood in that spot on the other side. Over there, so.
We all bled on that. We all bled on that.
Yeah.
Dada the most. Dada bled and sweat and like Dada is also half made of
MDF.
MDF dust now.
Yeah.
Like he inhaled
Data
it.
blood so much
it's-
that his hat actually bled off and morphed onto the back of the set itself.
It did. It's part of his structure now. He requires MDF. Anyhow,
You're muted.
you're muted. Muted.
I feel like I should be putting this on my resume.
Yeah, you should. You absolutely
Yeah.
should. It's fantastic. Anyhow, so we're going to lose the station, and I think I just want to move into a remote workflow. So I've been playing behind the scenes for a few weeks, and Ryan has been privy to some of this and lots of me swearing. I've been playing with different remote options to try to do something just kind of cloud-based, which is everything that I'm against. I do believe, actually, I even was saying it to Dutta earlier, like, I believe that, milliseconds matter, and, like, having these really tight shows kind of matters, and like, anyhow, it's really hard to do that in the cloud. And so we're struggling a little bit with these shows. It's a new technology. We're trying to figure out what the workflow looks like, and we have not mastered this workflow yet. So I just ask for a little bit of patience as we try to figure out what this all looks like and how this all goes together. Like we'll get Dutta some better tools. I actually have his Stream Deck here with me in Vandenberg, but like that'll make his life easier. So it's just a click of the button and boom, things pop up, because tactileness actually does matter. So anyhow, just if you wouldn't mind, bear with us. And then like constructive criticism, being like, hey, and actually I would argue things that work are just as important as things that don't. So a lot of people will tell me the negative things, and I do appreciate that. Like, I want to know the things that aren't working for you. Does the time not work? Does the format not work? Things like that. But then also, like, things that do work. Because if you don't tell me what does work, I may inadvertently eliminate it thinking it's not working. And I'm constantly changing the show, trying to make it better. But I don't want to remove the things that are working. I just want to remove the ones that aren't to, like, improve it. The goal of the change isn't just change for the sake of change, it's change for the sake of improvement. So, yeah, that. So any feedback you have there would be appreciated with regards to all of it. One of the other things I'm thinking about doing is adding interviews back into the show. I have no idea how that's going to work out, but I think what we'll do is here's where everything breaks in this new format. I think I'm going to move right. So I'm going to do this in the member chat, and for those of you who are YouTube members, we'll continue this conversation and kind of see how things go. And you might be like, hey, where's the link for the member chat? And the problem is we can't build one in advance. So what we have to do is like finish this show and then like go back and do a new one. It's not great. So give us a minute to actually like end this show. And if you're a member, like go back over to YouTube, go to youtube.com/TMRO. And then if you're a member, it will show up in the memberships area. Just click on that and we'll continue this conversation. It should be a lot of fun. If you're not a member and you'd like to become a member, please do. We've got a bunch of really awesome members already. You can subscribe at a ground support level, which is like as little as I think
I heard.
I fell off stage.
Oh.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
Maybe
well,
when the photos
there's-
went up, it kicked us out.
Well, anyhow, but I could hear you guys. Hang on. Let's find. We'll figure it out in the member chat. So those are a bunch of different things. I'm sorry that you lost all of our audio, and we'll figure out how that works in the future.
Yes.
It muted us all.
No, you have to, because it's a pre-built scene, and so you have to build the scene with the audio, and I didn't build it with audio. I only built it with the slides. So I have to go back and build that scene better, because you can build anything you want, right? So you can actually make it. EVMux can do the power of EVMux is you can do anything you want. The downside of EVMux is you can do anything you want, and so you can screw yourself up exactly like I just did. So anyhow, I hope you guys had a fun time. Like I said, watch for the membership show. Dada hit the button. That's it for this for us this week, and I hope I'll have an opportunity to see you guys next week.